Our next speaker is Ms Sonal, the Director of Compassionate Choices Private Limited and CEO of WhiteCub, who has been making waves in the world of vegan desserts. Ms Sonal ma'am's achievements are a testament to her dedication and passion for creating a better world for all of us. I welcome ma'am to address the audience.
So that is me. I was all of 6 to 7 years of age. Born in a family with 4 siblings, I was the youngest in there, and so I used to be given the mundane job of daily getting milk for our household. So my mother would give me the steel bucket with a handle, and then I would go open the back gate of our house, walk merely a few steps, and then enter the dairy. Now there regularly I observed 3 things. 1, the cows, buffaloes, and their young babies would never be unchained. We had a dog at our house, so I knew the importance for him to not to be remaining tied up with a chain throughout the day. I would also notice many of these cows and buffaloes doing a rather strange act. So one of them would rather get up, stand on the floor while remaining tied up, then plonk down on the floor again, only to stand up the very next minute. So I could understand that essentially they were all genuinely bored and sad with being chained up throughout the day with zero freedom to roam about freely. The second observation was big and thick syringes of perhaps some drug used to be kept just outside the stalls. Vijay, the dairy owner, would often stab one or the other cow with it. Many years later, I discovered those were oxytocin injections, which are even banned by the government of India. Now third, regularly a truck would come to the dairy. So some men would get down from the truck, would enter the dairy, and would drag out the calves and would try to haul them up the dairy. These calves were male calves, born few days back and not being kept with their moms for most part of the day. I feel that somehow they knew who these men were. They were butchers. And so the whole dynamics was revolving around taking away the spent cows and buffaloes and the male calves with them. Then and another observation had been that none of the adults around in the dairy at that time, all the adult customers like me, but they were all adults, they would never look at me eye to eye during that time and would also consciously move away from the scene in the dairy when these butchers were visiting the dairy. Now fast forward to when I was in class 8. During one of the afternoon tele shows, I happened to watch a TV program on DD Metro during those days, wherein they showed the dairy system from the same perspective which I had developed as a child. So somehow I realized that whatever I had been feeling for the dairy as a child was indeed normal. And the seeds for WhiteCub got laid in my subconscious during that time itself, though it was much later that we were finally able to launch WhiteCub. So today, in this year, WhiteCub celebrates 10 years of its existence. During the pandemic, people around the world, including in India, became health conscious. So we at WhiteCub were also able to start giving out the non-ice cream products. Before that, before the pandemic, we were only doing ice creams made by vegan milks. So we would make the vegan milk as an ingredient in our factory, then blend them with fruits and sugars, and yes, voila, vegan ice cream was ready. Now the vegan staples had arrived finally in India thanks to the pandemic-induced health emergency around the world as in India, because of which we've been able to do out butter, curds, lassis, buttermilks, yogurts, you name it. Also, talking about who can be the end user of our products, the typical target customer, the TG, as we say in the startup language. So from the end user perspective, we have 3 kinds of people: the health conscious, the eco conscious, and the ethics conscious vegan and flexitarians. Talking about different categorization, so we have references coming from dermatologists, skin specialists, gastroenterologists, oncologists, and special educators as well. You may feel, why special educators? Well, neurodivergent kids are often observed to be responding better to a diet which is called CF-GF diet, that is casein-free and gluten-free. So, even within the first year of our operations in our ice cream parlor, we used to have kids having autism, ADHD, etc., coming to our parlor for their yummy treats in a safe haven of sorts. And the stomach issues settle down, the skin issues settle down when one quits dairy or reduces dairy in their diet. Also, animal protein is often found to be artificially of sorts, exaggerating the cell proliferation, because of which many new age oncologists are these days advising their complicated cases of patients to go on a zero dairy diet. As far as the B2B segment is concerned, a lot of retail stores and the HoReCa segment. HoReCa stands for hotel, restaurants, and catering. They are also our clients. Now, how do we link up vegan with the environment? Any guesses? So, well, no other food choices except for vegan have been shown to be having a remarkable impact on the environment through the medium of documentary films. Very famous ones, I'll say. So, Eating Our Way to Extinction, Cowspiracy, Before the Flood, etc. Some of them have featured the works of Leonardo DiCaprio, and many famous world producers have been associated with such films. So, they go on to show that how a vegan diet helps to ameliorate the climate crisis. So, cow's milk production typically causes as much as 3 times the greenhouse gases, 10 times the land usage, and up to 20 times the usage of fresh water than its vegan version. As far as the happy impact of WhiteCub alone in the past 5 years, we must have saved over 72,000 kgs equivalent of carbon emissions, more than 202,000 square meters of land, and about 1.6 crores liters of water. Now, because ice cream is a child-friendly product, we use highly nourishing ingredients in our ice creams. So yes, WhiteCub is having a high appeal among the human cubs as well. Social outreach, we often do social outreaches as well. Besides the cubs, the happy moments. Yes, so these are some of the happy moments, which makes me think about challenges. Now you might feel, why do I have the slide of happy moments when I talk about my challenges? That is because for an entrepreneur, happiness lies amidst challenges. So primarily, I have faced 2 kinds of challenges. One, the lack of awareness among potential customers, and second, the lack of capital. The solution to both these challenges has been in the form of CP. What is CP? Not cost price, but the combination of consistency and perseverance. So me and my team daily doing a certain task of activities repeatedly till we gained enough traction among the client base, and persevering till the time we got our first round of funding by one of the world's best VC platforms of our industry, which is New Crop Capital, based out of Washington, DC, which came around in the 6th or 7th year of our business. Besides, as a part of my personality, I also have a habit of turning one O into the other O. Any guesses which could be these 2 O's? Well, turning obstacle into an opportunity. So I'll share with you a related incident. Within the first year of our launch, and that too on the very first morning of our launch, I discovered that the flavor which had to be named Kesar Pista, the staff, while making that particular flavor, ended up mixing up a flavor which was wrongly labeled as pista, as Kesar, with saffron. so the label, the flavor was actually bubblegum flavor, but it had the label wrongly written as kesar. And besides adding saffron, real saffron and real pistachio, they ended up adding the flavor called, which was in real bubblegum. Now, at the last minute, I had the option to panic or to think of something better, you know, how we could come around facing the situation. The parlor had to open by 10 a.m. and it was by around 8 a.m. I discovered this mix-up. So I pivoted. By changing the label of Kesar Pista into a newly coined flavor called Bubbly Pistachio. And yes, and when the doors opened in, we served the customers wholeheartedly a newly designed flavor called Bubbly Pistachio, making all of them feel that it was a curated, it was a consciously created amazing new flavor. And lo and behold, it turned out to be a hit flavor as well. So leaving you all on a bubbly note, here I am, Sonal from WhiteCub Vegan Foods. Thank you.